Real quick, JJ, not to put you on the spot, but since I'm streaming, I don't think people will be able to hear you very well just on my end. What are you using for your microphone? A little. I just remember you being louder, like when I've watched you guys on the Discord. So I'm just wondering. I don't think anybody will be able to. I'm looking at his level. He's at like negative 60 decibels. Yeah. Go ahead and talk. Can you talk for me, Andrew, real quick? Let's see. Actually,
There's unlimited today as well.
okay. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
Check 1, 2, 3. Is this
Oh yeah, that's like way better.
Now if you can turn it down a little bit.
What did you just? What did you do? What did you just do?
So I turned off all my safeguards. Essentially, is what I did.
Oh, okay.
Oh my,
yeah,
dude,
sure.
I mean, you just sounded like you were sitting like maybe like 50 feet away from your microphone.
A little bit, yeah.
Now you sound like
if you
there.
can turn it down like 25%, that would be
Okay.
great.
All right, hang on. Let me put my sound gate back on. Hang on. Okay. How's this?
Could you turn it down 25% more?
Yeah. Hang on. Let me try this again. How's that?
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. How's that for you, Nick, on your end?
Yeah, that's totally good. I mean, he sounds great. So I think we're all good. I think we're good.
Awesome. Well, great. I'm just gonna then run into the intro. All right, starting recording. You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast. My name is Andrew Kuba.
My name is Nick Sperry.
And I am JJ from Planning Phase Syndicate.
And in this episode, our final episode of the year, we have much to talk about, including the Phoenix and PAX Unplugged Grand Tournaments. Nick was at PAX Unplugged, so we'll get our on-the-ground reporting there. Yeah. And also, later in the show, we're going to talk about the new X-Wing Alliance beta points and a little bit of Star Wars Unlimited, because you can check over on JJ's Planning Phase Syndicate podcast, where they talk about Star Wars Unlimited quite a bit. But since this is an X-Wing podcast, we're going to start there. And Nick, how was your time at PAX?
PAX was great. It was it's like Gen Con, but way more chill. It was huge. The convention center was really nice. It's like this modern, it's like just beautiful architecture in the inside and out. Easy to get to. Philadelphia was cool. I've never been. Had a bunch of cheesesteaks. Had a lot of fun. Played some high level X-Wing. Good turnout. Yeah, it was great. I'm glad I did it. I shout out to Stephen Weiland. He made top 4, number 3 overall.
You did some sightseeing. Yeah.
So it's sightseeing with him, and he nudged me into going because he said, "Hey, you don't have to worry about paying for a place to stay. I already booked a hotel." So that was the reason why I was able to go, because otherwise I would not be able to go.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you, Steven.
Steven is such a top shelf dude. Yeah,
really is. Yeah.
Super excited for him, and glad that you're able to go together. Steven also nice enough to be repping 312 Squadron out there too.
Yeah, he looked good in that jersey, man. The jerseys making their kind of convention debut at PAX, and felt good to be representing the crew with the hardware. It just looks so good. So that was cool. It was awesome to see him rocking our jersey during Top Cut as well. Got some good pictures of him, and Yeah, really proud of him. I'm happy with how I played. We got paired up the last round, and
Wow.
the unfortunate situation was that on my side, if I won, I still wouldn't make cut, even though I was 3-1.
Wow.
And if he won, he would be number 3. So
Yeah.
he did beat me fair and square, but it's a frustrating situation to be in when no matter what you can't make cuts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I did see that there were a number of 4-win players that just weren't able to make it. That's where the strength of schedule really came into play for this tournament.
Yeah, it was. I'm excited to talk about the event itself and kind of like what I saw and everything, but it was
this is still standard.
still standard, and it's like a new meta, but not super new, just like slightly new with like a couple of minor points adjustments that Atomic Mass Games made like randomly a few months ago, and it was I was interested to see what I would see a lot of, and it was honestly, I thought I would dread some of my matchups more. I did go up against Imperial Aces, but thankfully because it was Scramble and I had a really good list for it, I was able to kind of just put a lot of pressure on with scenario points. So that was the only matchup I was worried about, was like a Duncan Howard matchup, or somebody just bringing, someone who's already really good, bringing high initiative aces that are almost impossible to take off the board. That's really what I was worried about.
Gotta ask, in relation to the Imperial Aces, did you run into any of the standard loadout whispers or echoes out there, and what were your impressions on them?
Apparently both were out there. I ran into Whisper, and I played Tyler Tippett. I've only played Tyler a couple of times. This is, I think, the second time I've played him. I barely lost in a Heartbreaker and a bubble game to make cut at LVO a year ago against him. And then this year, I was able to get the matchup in terms of the scenario I wanted. So I was playing a 5-ship Rebel list. It was Fen, Wedge, Luke, Keo, and Sabine. So just super good for any scenario, really, but especially for Scramble. And he brought Whisper, SL Whisper. And I'll be honest, I have no idea how good, how high the ceiling is for Whisper. I know it's pretty high, but because I was scrambling so much, he was really incapable of taking any meaningful actions because he had to constantly keep scrambling. And it was awesome because Whisper did like no damage that game, dude. I was very lucky. I almost Mandalorian Optics. I was like, I'll Mandalorian Optics, and it's like, oh well, Whisper's in front of me, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna lose that lock immediately. So yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Man. Yeah. But there was a couple out there. There were a couple.
I was going to say that Doug Howe is also flying Imperial Aces, but yeah, honestly, the Karsabi, they came up with the standard loadouts for the Alpha, the Starwing. Not a lot of those on the field either.
Yeah, I'm not as surprised, to be honest. I think Karsabi is interesting. I think Vendor is pretty good, but I think honestly, what it really says a lot about is that I4s don't have a place in the AMG meta, and they still don't. So that's a huge issue with them.
I was going to say, do you think it's more the lack of availability of the ship itself, or just people not comfortable with flying the ship?
I think it's multiple things. I do think the biggest the non-starter is, I'm bringing something that will suffer because it is not an i5 or i6. I think that's like the main thing. Anybody that really wants to bring something because they think they'll win with it will find a way to get one or borrow one. That's my belief. There are enough communities out there who look out for each other that, someone has a Starwing. They used to be on the shelves. I bought mine for $15 at my game store. Like, if you really want to fly one, you could probably find a way to borrow one or buy one if you care that much. But I just think the unknown around flying something new that we haven't had in standard, plus the fact that they're i4, I think is enough for people to look at something else. Is
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. The way I feel about it, honestly.
I was going to say, looking at some other grand tournaments, it still looks like Rebels and Republic are still top of the table.
Yeah, I mean, I'll if we want to dive into Pax and
about
Phoenix.
Top 4, it's a faction salad.
For PAX, right?
Great. Yeah.
That's cool.
Do we want to start at number 4, moving up?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna try to, on the stream side of things, I'm gonna try to kind of show it for the folks watching. There we go. Yeah, let's
Sounds good.
talk about it. I'll talk about Heaver really quick because him and I brought like the same list with slightly different upgrades.
I was gonna say, yeah, you did, yeah.
Yeah, so Paul,
I can.
yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say I can start. I start off with the number 4 if we want to just.
Oh, are we going forward to 1? Sure.
Yeah, let's go forward to 1, I guess. Save the best for last. But we had Scum at number 4 for it's Asmeryl, Lee Mackay, Cad Bane, Bosk, Dr. Afra, Manaru. So it's nice seeing Scum finally doing well in standard, making that top 4 cut. Classic big chunky list, lots of shenanigans with Dr. Afra and Cad Bane, and Bosk is just, ever since it's been 2 points, has been a great include. And then quickly we can do Stephen Weiland bringing a Republic, the dedicated list that does great with Contrail, Oddball, Click, Matchstick, and Broadside with Ahsoka Tano. So Republic still great, still got arcs, and still does work. But so I don't know if you wanted to go over then Paul Heaver and Duncan Howard's match, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, JJ, why don't you talk about Duncan's list, and then we can kind of circle back on a couple of the 3 and 4s.
Absolutely. Just really quick, big shout out to our perennial guest host Alex Merrill, bringing that Scum list. He is amazing with that list.
He was on our show.
Alex.
Friend of the show.
Yeah. So Duncan bringing something that he's actually very, very adept with. It's a 4-ship Empire list here. It's a bit of an ace list here with support. So he has the standard loadout, Colonel Jendon, along with Darth Vader TIE Fighter. I believe that's the SSP one, the one that comes in the starter pack. Captain Faroff with Ruthless Tact Officer and Targeting Computer, and then Scythe 6, which is one of the Battle of Endor TIE Fighters that comes in with 4 hull. Really, really solid support ship on the side, or solo ship, I should say, on the side. There, he can definitely do quite a bit of objective play with Darth Vader. He gets extra support from Faroff, who can do very, very well in salvage, being able to grab a crate and still use those ailerons. And if your opponent has no tokens, gets that free evade over there. Just a lot of offensive potential between Jendon and Vader, and then Faroff is just a really solid support ship that can also contest objectives.
Yeah, Duncan bringing, surprisingly to me, he's been trying to win, with every faction, but bringing Empire again after Tomax was brought up to 4 points. So he swapped Tomax for Scythe 6 for that 3-point slot. Duncan just doesn't take damage typically. So this list, you have I6s, you have Scythe 6 with the extra hull. If you're going all in on a TIE Fighter for 3 points, good for him. That's going to work out in his favor. Sure. Going back to Steven's list really quick. No ARC 170s in that list at all. That's a V-Wing, Oddball.
Oh, okay. Oddball,
V-Wing, Click. I guess there is no ARC 170 Click, but just to be specific, Matchstick and Broadside in the Y-Wings. Ahsoka, though, was one of the random, kind of point adjusted decisions that AMG made and brought her down to 5 points and 7B. So Steven able to give people multiple actions with her ability, or she could just be self-sufficient and take multiple actions. R4P17 gives her an opportunity to take an action even while stressed. Heightened perception, she can avoid being initiative killed. So just and a ton of bombs in this list. There's got
a lot of bombs. Yeah.
Let's see. He's got thermal detonators, concussion bombs, ion bombs, concussion bombs again, proton bombs, and of course Ahsoka. It would be funny if she had bombs, but she had spare parts canisters. So.
Yeah. I guess I wanted to say also to JJ, I'm sorry, I didn't realize Asmeryl was Alex Merrill, because I definitely should have let you take over describing that. That's such a bummer, but yeah.
It's all right. We could,
no worries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's a good. Alex has been playing that. Like
It is
his
a
list
good
did not change with any of the points updates, and I saw him randomly at PAX the day before, and I was like, "Oh, what's up, man? I know you're gonna be here." And he's like, "Yeah, they dragged me out of retirement. I haven't played in months since Worlds." So I was like, "Oh, okay." And then of course, he just made top four.
Top cut.
Yeah, with Scum,
it's
which
catchy.
is like,
I played this list at tournaments back in when Standard was the only points meta out there.
there was no XWA.
It's really good. This is all about giving your opponent stress and making it really bad if they have stress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's really good. Yeah.
It's really solid. So Alex lost to Paul Heaver, who ended up winning the whole tournament with a 5-ship Rebel list. So he had Wedge Antilles that battle over Endor Wedge, who essentially has an unavoidable double modded advanced proton torpedo. Mm-hmm. In the hands of the average to great player like Paul, it is just a matter of when it's going to happen, not if. It is just R2 A3, allowing yourself to spend a charge after doing an action to acquire a lock. He can focus link roll. He can focus boost. Even though he's depleted, he can still do a 4-die advanced proton torpedo. He can take a crate and take a lock. He can just scramble, take a lock, whatever. And extra shield. He gets a defensive reroll if there are more friendlies and enemies nearby, and he has Predator. And if his attack hits, he gets a focus back for his ability. So just probably the best X-Wing pilot in the meta right now for Rebels. Like, Luke is obviously right there with him, but this is the type of wedge that people have only dreamed of being able to play that stays alive longer and still hits very hard. I played the same wedge, so the same list, just slightly different upgrades. He also brought Luke. That's Battle of Yavin Luke, 5-point regenning Protorp carrier with Force. You've got Fen Rao in the Fang Fighter. This version, the winning list version for Paul, had Beskar clan training in Swarm Tactics, so he would make Luke an I6. Just the way he flew the list is a way that I'm not usually comfortable with, but he capitalizes on, because 3 I6s, that's an insane alpha to deal with. Fen, you got Concordia, you're fast. He's really good. 5-point piece, and then he's got Keo with vectored cannons and Juke. So system phase boost, and then he's evading every turn. You have the Force, you can side slip, super hard to kill and worth nothing. Only 3 points. Yeah. And then Sabine with no loadout at 2 points in the TIE Fighter.
I mean, even with with Sabine losing her Beskar plating, she's still good. She can still reposition really well. She can cover a lot of ground, and you gotta dedicate a lot of resources just to go knock out that cheap ship. So it's such a useful ship to have in the list.
Yeah, I a couple of my games, she just kind of randomly exploded out of nowhere, but I was like, like that's her job, I guess. Like, she's gonna take the heat off of the rest of the list. She's worth 2 points. So yeah, I can't remember the final score, but Duncan and Paul played final table. I think it was chance engagement. I believe the score was within a couple of points. So that duel of the fates. I took a picture of the two of them playing. I'm like, look at this. Of course. But it just, in terms of scanning through the rest of the field here, Ted Wade at number 5. I had the pleasure of playing Ted. He was a super nice guy. He brought a scum list as well and went 4-1, and he just barely miscut because he lost the tiebreaker in SOS. He had less mission points, but tied the SOS with Alex. So 2 scum players. It just feels bad for one of them to not make cut. Can you imagine 2 of them making cut?
Yeah, it says Ted brought our Rebels.
Sorry, I said Ted Wade. I'm confusing with someone. Ted T. I can't remember his last name. He has scum right next to him. Number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was there another Ted. Oh, there is a Ted Wade in there. I got the 2 names confused. Ted T is who I'm referring to right now, who brought scum. Ted Wade brought Rebels, but Ted Wade played well. He finished number 8 right in front of me, which is cool. A lot of Teds. Apologies. So He brought a list with a bunch of bullseye mechanics that was super scary to deal with. I did a good job of dodging most of it, but Lee Mackay with Brockets, Cad Bane with Brockets, Cutthroat, Contraband, and Xandu Blood, Dirge with Proton Cannons, Contraband, and Fearless. And then he had the Mandalorian with Razor Crest. He had Contraband underneath that, the Child, and Fearless. And then Lapin, this really annoying 3-point Mining Guild TIE Fighter who, if you're stressed, you can't modify your dice while you're defending against Lapin or shooting at him. So I had opportunities to kill Lapin, but because I linked actions, I couldn't do anything.
Wow.
Oh man.
Yeah, you just forget about it.
Stressed or strained. Oh man.
Getting strained with Mark Stable Closure and the rocks, and had Ion Cannon as well. It's like, woof.
Nasty. Jeez.
Seriously.
Cool.
Seriously. Yeah, it was a cool list.
And you got to dodge a lot of bullseye arcs.
Yeah. He played that game well. The Mandalorian was sitting in the middle of all my ship's firing arcs with a structural damage, and I was able to take him out pretty quickly, but in return, he range 0 nattied into Luke, and then Luke just kind of just evaporated out of nowhere. I was like, okay. And that's how he was able to win our game.
Trade.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but yeah, just looking at other lists, it's a lot of rebels. We saw, a decent amount of resistance, separatists with very little representation. I see one list right now for separatists at PAX. Not a lot of Republic either, very little FO. So shockingly, rebels, resistance, Empire, making up most of the field here. But there's a few scum lists, which is cool. I think 4 scum lists I'm counting. 1, 2, 3, 5 scum lists. 4 or 5. So that's neat.
Yeah, I gotta say it's pretty impressive, right? Because for the majority of the last points update, Scum just did not have a very good performing list, right? That would constantly make it.
Yeah, I would say for the majority of just 2.5, Scum did.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically CIS is the worst performing faction in AMG points, but Scum is right next to it. Pretty close. Yeah, we're struggling for sure. And mostly because where CIS was getting a little bit of love with SOC, they still the faction identity struggles when everything's so fragile and low initiative. And then Scum is just so 2.0-y. It's hard to play scenarios with Scum. I think that's always been a big issue, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Very little force carriers. Very little ways to protect the ships if they do scenario actions, things like that.
Yeah. No. The synergies are all self-sufficient, kind of lone wolf type abilities as well.
Yeah, and that makes it hard to balance as a faction too.
Yeah, that's true. At the same time, this past weekend, when we're recording this was this past weekend, we had the Phoenix, the North Phoenix GT. That was a 2-day event as well, which is cool. So 2 concurrent GTs happening in the U.S. And I say that it means something because really there weren't that many GTs. 2 in the same day is kind of cool. There's just not a ton to be able to play at. And our friend Dwight Lindsay, who was on our last episode from Lock and Roll, was at this event, which is cool. And he went 3-2 as well, which is neat. He did. So congrats to Dwight for playing well there. And Phoenix.
Yeah. Also, it's great they have one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Phoenix, though, wild top 8.
Yeah, lots of rebels.
5 rebel lists in the top 8.
In a top 8, not a top 4, which is cool.
Right, and they did the top 8, yeah. 2 Republic and 1...
Oh.
Resist.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think we lost.
Andrew,
well,
we lost you, Andrew. Network connectivity issues.
Yeah. But yeah, like he was saying, just having that amount of rebel.
Oh, hold
list
on. We
there
don't
and
we don't
as
want to
part of
use we don't want to use any of this. So we'll wait
Alright.
because if he cuts back in while you're talking, it'll just be so unusable. Like so we'll give it a second. We can shoot the shit.
Hello.
Hello. You cut out a few times and we just couldn't hear you anymore. Hello.
Yeah,
I don't think.
still
I don't think.
he's.
Can you hear me? Okay, JJ. I assume.
Yeah, you're fine. You're
Okay.
crystal. Yeah.
I do one of those. Restart the.
Yeah, he might have to restart.
Hello.
Can you hear us? Hello. Hello. We can hear you. You can't hear us clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to restart definitely.
It's a first. Spectrum. I don't think he has Spectrum, but
Oh, there we go. He's got the refresh. Let's see.
Oh, I can hear you guys.
Yeah, there we go.
hello.
Yeah.
You can hear us.
Oh, I can. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just want to cut all of that out. We can start over. With
yeah, I can cut it. No worries.
yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah. If you want to start with talking about what you know, the top 8 again, and talking about lots of rebels, we can kind of start back up there.
Oh, did you not hear me say that?
Nope.
No.
I was looking at the
Your voice is
waveform
slightly
and
cut
it
out
was pretty empty as well on Zencaster. It seemed so. I'm not. I think just to be safe, let's just do that part again.
Yeah.
Oh,
there. Nope.
he's like arguing. Can you imagine if?
Can't.
This reminds me of like Agatha all along, right? He's got like the hex on his
Hear me
his
again?
voice. Yeah.
He's like, can you hear me? I think he leaves. The patrons are gonna get the full, the full unedited. This is where the fun begins.
Yeah, his connection just went down like really bad.
Yeah, I can't tell if yellow, like if he's here. Yellow just means he's here, but his connection is faulty. Is like not great or unstable or whatever you call
Yeah.
it. I think that's what that means. Yeah. Well, we're just hanging. We're just chilling like
Yeah.
villains. So what's
So,
it like
besides,
watching the playoffs from the couch, dude?
It's rough, bro. It's so rough. You have no idea. My goodness.
Dude, that game I played yesterday was so goofy.
Yeah. Hey, it was good though. I mean, they had
It
a
was
lot of good games last night.
No, it was.
You know.
Very robotic.
Oh, but I sound robotic, but you can hear me.
Yeah. When
Nice.
you're
Okay.
when you're not cutting out, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know that's not helpful.
All right. Well, it's okay. We can try it again. Yeah.
Let's
right.
let's give it.
is-
Okay, I just want to make
What?
sure. Like, I just want to give it a second in case.
From
It seems
what?
like your
Oh.
connection's stable now. I just to give you a moment in case it drops out again, but I think you're okay.
I mean, if it drops out, it drops out.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll let you know if it drops out again. I guess.
Okay. Sounds good.
Go for it.
Yeah. Phoenix had a wild top 8. We had 5 rebel lists in the top 8, 2 republic, and 1 resistance. But all of the rebel lists were a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. This is my first time really looking at this, to be 100% honest. I was waiting for the show to have my first initial reactions. And here we go. Let me. Oh my goodness! Wow, a lot of rebels. It's cool to see a Death Ray make top cut. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny
We have-
to me is that a bunch of players intentionally drew to make top cut, and like at least one of them didn't make cut.
Oh wow,
Exactly.
that's so funny.
So yeah,
Yeah, you can see that. Oh, that's really funny.
yeah, it's rough. I do not like ID stuff, but that's fine. I just think that because I don't like it, I think it's really funny personally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do we start at number 8? Do we throw it over to JJ? I think we'll have put you in, throw you under the bus and have you do the first one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got we got Sheev here. He's running Resistance here. He's got Death Ray, which is a Ray with the title, engine upgrade, Finn, Rose, Novus Tech, and Heroic. And then we got Elo Atsi with Heroic and Marksmanship. Got that Elo took a nerf that last update, right? Lost some loadout points there. Looks like.
Yeah.
We got BB-8 here, the Bane of Crispy with Chewbacca. We got Tim and Wexley with the foils, R68, Ferrosphere Paint and Heroic, and then the return of Merle Coben in the A-Wing with Electronic Baffle and Heroic. Gotta say, when you get that magical Christmas land shot of Merle blocking somebody in bullseye, just giving them that strain, and then you're getting shot by Ray at close range, man, like it is
I'm gonna bow out of that one. I think I'm gonna close my eyes while my opponent rolls those dice.
What is that, 6 dice, right? Potential, because you're rolling 5 dice.
5 dice, but you
strain.
you essentially not even strained, you're just intimidated, right? Like, isn't that essentially what the ability is?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
My
if
goodness,
it's if Merle has you in bullseye, or is it if you have Merle in bullseye?
if you have Merle and Bullseye, yeah.
That's so funny. Can you imagine trying to get a procket on Merle and being like, I'm gonna nope out of shooting a procket here. I'm good. Oh, that's wild. I'll do a Mitchell here. Mr. Mitch Hurst. I know Mitchell. It feels weird to call him Mitchell. He's always been called Mitch, but we're going long name here in Liz Fortress. Bring in Rebels, Wedge and Luke. We can probably guess which Wedge and Luke those are. The 5-point Bowie and Battle of Yavin. Boy, Luke. And Luke and Wedge, respectively. And then we've got Ahsoka in the A-Wing with instinctive aim and concussion missiles, because she went down from 5 points to 4. 3 force as an ability, 2 force. You can spend that and give a friendly ship at range 1 to 2 an action even while stressed. So good action economy there. It sounds like a very Rebel thing to do. And we've got Bodica in the Fang with Hopeful, Predator, and Beskar. And lastly, but not leastly, we've got Sabine Wren in that TIE Fighter.
Yeah, Ahsoka just so good. It's such an economical pilot at this point at 4 points. So good.
Yeah, I'm very interesting at 4 points. I never really liked her at 5. I understood why she was at 4. I think it's definitely worth trying with a fair amount of loadout.
Beskar reinforced plating, Mandalorian optics, and clan training, just to get that extra focus if you need it. And then Sabine Wren, great little 2-point ship, and it's fun to see this many Fangs and Rebels, and also doing so well.
I'm almost surprised. I'm like it's just like, I know Bodica's good, and I know Fen Rao is good. That's a lot of like squishiness, even though you have Beskar Fang fighters. It's so tough.
It's squishiness, but it's also a lot of offensive output as well. So I think this is just a just list that you really hope that first engagement goes well.
I mean,
yeah.
I flew for the 312 League. I flew those Mandalorian or Clan Ren volunteers.
You sure did.
I mean, I got to tell you, man, when you can put them in range 1 consistently and get shots in there, I mean, it really just discourages your opponent from taking shots at them just because of that auto evade and the crit cancellation there. So they can be squishy at range, but if you can range control really well, I mean, you can do some serious work with those Fangs. They're so good.
Yeah, I liked the Clan Ren volunteers with outmaneuver, but you can put I mean, they got so much loadout too. Yeah, those Fang
Yeah,
fighters
it's
can
an insane
get
amount of loadout.
Yeah, those Fang fighters can get really aggressive.
We might want to start paying them. They're doing so well. Am I right? Clan Run volunteers, and maybe give them minimum wage. It's one of the worst jokes. Oh, Zach Bart was there. That's cool. Yeah, with the fuel leak with these gas prices. Go to our merch store, buy the fuel leak with these gas prices shirt today. Zach Bart, my man, Zach from the Hangar 19 Indianapolis crew. He typically helps run Crossroads, and he was a great host for us and Matt and I for 312 when we streamed their event last year. And he brought the same list. With all due respect to Zach, he brought the same list as what we just listed a couple times. This Ahsoka also has mag pulse like Alex Farley's, but it seems like there is Grasser brought the same list after that. Not to jump to the next person, but it's the same. So there's clearly been a bit of a circle of communication about what type of rebel list you should bring to a GT. I don't know if it's just the crates talking about this, but it seems to be popular. It is good. And Grasser bringing that list. I'm trying to think. Let's see. Oh, we're looking at Swiss too. We'll have to switch over to day 2. I think the first list fortress. Yeah, I just want to keep that in mind because I know Grasser won. Spoiler alert! So I'm seeing it at number 4.
Yeah,
I was confused.
It has the cut. It has the cut next to it. So he did win.
Oh, I see. Okay, left to right. That makes sense. Yeah. What about Dick Willie? Love that name. That is a phenomenal name. How about you, JJ?
Definitely. Yeah, I guess so. He actually came in with a really interesting list. I like it a lot. So it's Leia Organa with Heightened Perception, Ursa Wren, Mag Variaro, Bastan, Millennium Falcon, and Electronic Baffle. I think she is the only pilot right now for the Falcon that can carry the Bastan combo, right?
Lando can as well. I went up against Lando at PAX, right, and he can take him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got 3 A-Wings. We got Hera with Mag Pulse and Marksmanship, Ahsoka with Brilliant Evasion and Concussion Missiles, Kia with Juke, and then Sabine Wren in the TIE Fighter there. I mean, solid list. You got some really, really fast movies there. Leia Organa can essentially do double miter shots as she needs to with Magma, and Ursa Wren there. Kind of needs to just hang back, allow the A-Wings to kind of be that initial screen, and then she can just pick off everybody she needs to there. You have a lot of great fast-moving ships that can go in, contest objectives as you need to, and get out when they need to. So it's a very solid list.
I mean, it's awesome seeing Leia. Like, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's really dope. Yeah, that's awesome. She doesn't have to be flying on her lonesome like Mary Poppins in space. She can be in the Falcon. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Too soon still for that reference. Blastromech though, Andrew, let's do this. Is the only Republic list that made top 8. Everything else Rebels.
Yeah. And then this one with the build your own oddball with Veteran Tail Gunner and RP Astromech. We got Stub with a shield upgrade. Rick Olay coming into this list. Daredevil, Crackshot, R2C4. Daredevil and Rick Olay, one of my favorite ways to fly him. Super fun. And then you got Contrail with Lone Wolf and shield upgrade. And we have Axe and Matchstick, Ion Cannon Turret, Seismic Charges, and Delayed Fuses. So this is a list that it's got a combination of like fast ships and then also chunky ships that you have to get through for not that much value.
Axe is really good too, and the Torrent
Axe is
with
very good. Yeah,
with the barrage rockets.
Still 3 points though, right? So
yeah,
great value for what you get.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another very solid Republic morph after the slight nerfing of the gunships. Yeah,
the nerf heard around the world.
Yeah,
the oddball nerf, the 5-point oddball nerf. Yeah, or the 4 points of 5 point. Yeah, it was needed to happen. And then U-Trib brought Han. Oh my God. Hey, Han Solo, Captain the Millennium Falcon. That's my really good Han Solo impression. Like if he was really drunk, or if I was really drunk doing Han Solo impression, that's what it would sound like.
If he was a newsboy in the 1920s.
A fast ship. Yeah, newsboy in the 1920s. Exactly. Oh, exactly. Yeah. So I really want to say the joke, but it's so overdone that I'm just gonna hold off. So Han's got Millennium Falcon title, engine upgrade, Ezra Bridger for the Force, and the bonus attack with a turret. Ezra lets you do that, which is a way to get around Bistan. Chopper and novice technician. And then we've got Ahsoka with the Magpulse marksmanship and patience, so no compassion. Taiko Kelchu. Oh, this is dope, dude. Oh my God, I am like loving this. Oh my gosh, can you see how you can tell how stale everything is to me? When I see this list, I'm like screaming internally and externally. Taiko, build your own Taiko. The A-wing with heavy laser cannon, lone wolf, and elusive. I don't want to shoot at that guy.
Yeah,
Kiovenzi with Magpulse warheads and Predator, and then Sabine. Like, how about it? Finished top 8, snuck in there at number 8. That's
I
great.
like elusive on Tycho because he just gets to recharge that, and then on top
Yo,
of Lone Wolf,
yeah.
that is
Yeah.
so cool.
I love Prockets on Tycho too, but it's really stupid with in XWA because you can take composure and just botch a double modded shot every turn.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's gross.
But yeah, it is gross. I've been abusing it constantly, but Tycho is still really good at AMG points. Yeah, a composure is just like has a composure. I think Sabine used to also in the attack shuttle used to abuse composure as well.
Yeah.
She could she could fail her ability and then focus and then move and then lock when the attack shuttle. So they had
awesome.
Yeah. So composure's seen its days for sure. And
yeah,
being abused.
at this point, I think it would be all right if it also just got banned again. Like, doesn't need
well,
to be.
I'm bringing it tomorrow. So.
I mean, the shuttle Sabine, she can still do what debris gambit. You could do the barrel roll into evade.
Why are we talking about shuttle Sabine? Is she even legal in standard?
In XWA, she's.
I know. Yeah. We're talking about both XWA and AMG. I'm taking blame on this because I mentioned a composure first. I just love seeing Tycho at AMG points as well. Like that's dope.
I was gonna say that's a great transition into the XWA beta.
Shout out to Grasser for winning. Jonathan Grasser won the event.
Yes.
Real quick before we talk about XWA, I have a strange connection. Sorry, I hit my microphone by accident. I have a strange connection to Jonathan. Super random. My awesome Rebel backpack that I sadly had to throw away after 5 years of service. Jonathan has the exact same one, literally exact same one that I got from Star Wars Celebration. So shout out to Jonathan for having a good list, winning Phoenix GT, and having a dope backpack. All right, we can move on.
That's cool. No, that is cool.
Pretty sweet.
But yes. So we did get our first update. Our
Third.
first official. Our third. I mean, yeah, I was going to say that there was kind of like a mini one in between. This one I think it's been the most impactful update so far for XWA, and it's got a lot of stuff going on. One thing I will say, I do like that XWA comes out with the documentation saying, "Hey, this is everything we changed and why." If you don't want to like go look list by list.
Yeah. Shout out to my boy Martin Liu from my PR team for doing once again the formatting and branding kind of layout for these documents. He is the reason why they look so good. So
nice. He's doing a great job.
Appreciate you, Martin.
Oh yeah.
A good member of the PR team, public relations. Our relations are almost as good as my relations are with JJ's mother. Had to sneak in one of those. Sorry, JJ.
I was waiting. Reset the clock. Yes.
Yeah. Turn back the clock. Oh, Andrew's like these guys.
Just a couple of guys hanging out.
Just a couple of guys. Yeah. So what's nice about the For anyone that wants to look at this awesome documentation, xwing.life is the XWA resource site for everything. And if you go to xwing.life/resources, you'll be able to find where you need to go to look at this document. That breaks down the beta points version 3 changes.
I was going to say, JJ, have you had a lot of experience with the playing XWA lists?
Oh yeah, between the draft league right now, and practicing for the next season of the 312 league. Yeah, I've been playing a ton of different lists and stuff like that. I've been concentrating a lot more with CIS as of late, but yeah, just playing a lot of XWA points for sure.
Yeah, well, great. Well, I would say then too, as a CIS player, I'm one of the strongest, I think, factions in XWA. There have been a lot of changes, not as much on this new one for CIS, but were there any changes that you saw that were obvious as like, yeah, that was a great idea?
Honestly, the proximity mines was definitely a needed change. I think, especially for the bombers, for the hyena bombers and CIS, just being able to have indie calcs and have the proximity mines made them pretty strong.
And fuses.
When you also combine it, yeah, the fuses, and you can also do the struts on top of that as well. Just nerfing that down makes you play them differently, and it took me at least 2 games where I kept on running my hyena bombers onto obstacles only to realize, oh yeah, that's right, they don't have struts anymore. And yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, JJ, no.
Oh no.
I'd laugh so hard, dude. We didn't get that on stream. Was that on stream?
No, it was not on stream. Thank God.
Dang. So
oh my
gosh. I might answer that question, Andrew. Even though you didn't ask me, I'm gonna jump in and answer that question as well.
Well, I was gonna ask everybody.
So I'm gonna play I'm the meatball X-wing player for a quick second. When I first saw these, I was like, I am personally attacked because I've been playing a list with multiple things that have gotten nerfed, and then 5 seconds after I had that initial reaction, I was like, oh yeah, that's fair. So Aiden Fox, my boy Aiden, Aiden. Why can't I have a 4-point I1 rocket carrying, focus evading, proton bomb dropping, 2 agility throwing B-wing? Because that's not fair at 4 points. But I had a lot of fun playing them. That's for damn sure.
That was the first thing I read about the new points changes. I thought of you immediately. I was like, oh, Nick is going to be so bummed.
I mean, I had not been playing B-wings at all.
It's so obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
he was
it absolutely
silly.
needs to change. Nick is definitely going to be bummed.
Yeah. The one that I actually really disliked personally is because, and I blame the SL Shara Bay for this happening, is the only reason why 3-point Shara Bay went up to 4 is because the SL version, which is worse, needed to be cheaper. So A-Wing Shara, who was in jail at 4 points with like not a lot of loadout and AMG points, or still is, went down to 3 and had enough to take proton rockets. And I was like, hell yeah, like her ability is pretty niche. She's like, a cheap rocket carrier, but I4 squishy, like is a 3-point rocket carrier a little too far? I'd say probably, but she was never really that good. So I felt sad about that just because I used to play Shara in 2.0. No one played her then. No one really played her now, and she will not get played again. So, but I understand you need to keep the SL version cheaper because it's a lot worse. Like the SL version is very uninspiring. It's hopeful and concussion missiles. Oh, dude, I remember playing 2.5 with the first rule set and Ursa Red and Gavin, and I would from across the mat target lock Shara so that I could get target locks.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing.
So good.
I remember that. Yeah, like in 2.0, right?
So Ursa was a 2.0 release, right? But it was like right as the game transitions, and she needed to be errated, and it didn't happen until after the first Adepticon at 2.5. Wow. You could lock anybody locking her.
Correct. Yeah.
She could lock. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yes. No, I remember that meta. Yeah.
Yeah, it was silly. But yeah, the Rebel changes all make sense. Like just to kind of do quick summary, Bodica and Fen, their loadout was slightly tweaked. Sabine, is it Sabine Gunner or Crew? I think it's Crew.
Yeah, Crew.
Yeah, Sabine Crew went up just because you can kind of abuse that. And Gavin Darklighter, my boy Gavin. Oh, God, do I love Gavin. I love the E-Wing, everybody. We all know this already, but I love it. His loadout went down a couple to make Corrin a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, from my perspective, like I played a lot of Empire and Scum so far with like XWA. I will say the Lambda changes, losing the title, that definitely makes sense. Being able to double match shots anywhere really made that Lambda feel like just an auto include in every
Lieutenant Sai
list. Or Sai, I mean, right?
Yeah.
Lambda.
A sigh of relief.
Yeah, and sometimes I felt, some of my opponents would be like groaning when they saw like, oh, another Lambda now. But it was fun to play it again. It's going to be interesting seeing Whisper going down to 6 points now. So I think we're going to see a little more standard Whisper. And I think, I'm excited to see kind of what that meta looks like as well. Then...
You can run custom Vader with that with the SL Whisper, and that's a pretty good combo on its own, and that still leaves you with 8 points to fill up your list. And Empire has so many great choices for 4-pointers.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
I
true.
thought that one made sense. The one that I'm excited about though for Scum just kind of got some boosts. Fen Rao going down to 5 points. I've already kind of put him in my lists to see how good that really is. Loadout to 3 is pretty good. That kind of limits what you're going to be taking. My feeling right now is just Fearless is probably good enough. But also moving up Old Terok's loadout to 11 kind of makes that an interesting choice as well.
Yeah.
Especially,
now, I do. I was going to say, I do have a question for both of you guys on how you feel the comparison between Rebel Fen is versus Scum Fen, right? We just had Scum Fen come down to 5 points with 3 loadout there. We all know that he has a high ceiling where he can potentially, roll natties with red dice that are, got a 50% chance to roll paint.
He could potentially roll natties. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. He has a very good chance to do it, right? Versus the Rebel Fen route, which doesn't have that same output. Do you still think that we could potentially see Rebel Fen also come down in?
Oh God, to 4? No, that's my answer.
6, isn't he?
I thought Rebel Fen route was 5 in XWA. I will need to double check that. That's gonna we need a fact check. The rules were, Margaret, you were going to fact check. Let's see.
I think at 5, Fen Rao is 5 points.
Oh, he has a 5. Do you think he's worth coming down to 4 maybe with no loadout?
4 no loadout? No.
Here's my hot take is that I understand why some things like Jan Ors, for example, don't have any loadout, but I don't want it to be common practice to take things that we'd like to be able to put loadout on and like restrict it from being able to put anything on. Like I understand from like a couple instances doing it, but like Rebel Fen Rao, like I want to put upgrades on him. Like, I think he should be able to do that. So I'm trying to see XWA. He's 5 with 8 loadout.
Putting him down to 4 brings the same issue kind of that we had with 2.5, where you, by making such high initiative ships so cheap again, that bumps up the average initiative that everyone else has to play at across the board. I still think,
that's
4.0 I6 is pretty good. I mean, Soontir Fel had 1 loadout and that got taken away immediately.
That's my fault. I asked for that, and they actually tried it.
It was worthy to experiment with.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. Is you try it out. Turned out that was actually kind of too good. And Fen's ability to kind of opens up on his own, opens up a lot of really great possibilities for rebels to abuse that anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of like where it's at, and you know, I'm curious to see whether Scum Fen even stays, you know, at 5 points.
Yeah, the XWA has made it pretty abundantly, clear that they're willing to do an emergency change if there's enough overwhelming data to that it's not fair. I'm not hearing too much yet, but we'll see. I'm not on the playtest side.
Yeah.
I also, the other thing, JJ, is like it's kind of a dilemma because like I appreciate the question because Scum Fen Rao is just a lot better than Rebel Fen Rao when it comes to just damage, and like he's harder to kill at range 1 than Rebel Fen Rao. Like Rebel Fen Rao, you can still just kill him because he doesn't roll 4 green dice with Concordia at range 1. I think not being able to give Scum Fen Beskar is a good way to differentiate between the two.
Yeah.
I would consider giving Rebel Fen Rao more than 8 loadout if you really wanted to separate the two, but I think it's fine right now. I personally, like, outside of AMG points, like in XWA points, I've been playing Rebels like religiously and kind of have to for the draft league, and we've played well this season. We're in the playoffs right now. I would not bring Rebel Fen Rao in my list. I'm good. I don't think it would work for me, but maybe for someone else it would.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad.
It's not bad. I just think the risk of 5 points is 25% of the game. So
sure.
Yeah, right. So it's just it just depends on that. I think the type of play style you want. If you want to go aggressive, Fangs are really good for that. There's just enough in XWA right now. There's enough ambiguity still. How often am I going to see proton cannons? How often am I going to see proton bombs or protorps or anything that just makes a Fang fighter just shudder? I'm just not going to play him right now until I know I can confidently take him.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, I will say that with XWA, it feels like the firepower of a lot of ships has gone down quite a bit, making Fangs a little more viable than they were, I would say, even in the middle of 2.5. Not in this current, meta. I think that the Fangs are now pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I've been playing kind of a salad list. I've been playing a lot of Corrin in the X-wing, and that's been really fun. And Tycho, and just playing more A-wings again. And the I don't feel like me taking a 3-point TIE fighter is going to be a game-ending decision. It might be, for Rebels, not not for Empire, obviously, but like a 3-point TIE fighter for Rebels, it's like, oh, you want to bring Ezra? Sure, he has Force, but can he kill anyone? Usually no. So, but I like bringing him now because I feel like I can afford to do so, and I think XWA that echoes the sentiment that I think these points are allowing people to make choices that they don't feel really bad about in list building.
Yeah.
Just because it's not super meta.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was honestly just gonna ask you if you had any final thoughts.
The one thing I wanted to bring up was the changes made to First Order. The one thing I definitely agree with a lot of people was that First Order felt like it was kind of behind the curve compared to the other factions that got the rebalance from the previous points update. One of the surprises for me actually was the Red Fury Zealot, that TIE Whisper generic that came out there. A lot of people that I talked to kind of dismissed it a little bit because it doesn't have the ability to take the special suite that allows you to
thank God.
Which is honestly, it's fine to me, right? Because it just forces you to play it a different way, and having a 3-point ship that has the potential to really go really fast. It can equip sensor scramblers. It still has enough loadout points to put in pattern analyzer and proud tradition, make it a
or
really
optics
excellent night fighter. Or optics. Honestly, I was looking at this originally because you could fit up to 4 of them and put in Major Strident in the Upsilon shuttle, which you can also equip General Hux on there to expand the range of your coordinate on there. and you can really get those ships into really good blocking positions and then coordinate them to boost and rotate as you need to take shots uncontested. Do you think that this is going to be a big shakeup for First Order, those ships?
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think the Red Fury Zealot has like slightly too much loadout, just because I saw it was Sensor Scramblers, Fanatical, and Optics in one of our games I was streaming, playoff games, and shout out to Sean Bowman for playing the hell out of that list and showing why they're really good. But 4-die Bullseye, being able to focus, rotate, shoot out the back, being able to cloak and go fast. And then also being able to have an efficient attack with optics. Like, I just think that's like a little too much. But I like the design space being explored. Like, yeah, these guys, you can take generics. More generics being viable in the game is good, but they can't jam, thankfully. You can, and they're I2. So there are a lot of chances to take them off the board before they can really do a lot of damage. But man, those 4-die guns at range 1, you get Bullseye. There's a lot to take with optics for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna say Blackout also being reduced to 5 points, I think is going to give
God.
them a lot more
blank out
building ability.
Yeah, I like to call him blank out just because it's it just feels inevitable with a non Kylo silencer. Even a Kylo silencer, sometimes you get that, but I definitely agree. Blackout going down was good, and I think thematically, as Greg and I had a stream I hosted on 312 last week talking about these changes, and Greg, I asked him like, hey, why did Gaelic, for example, lose the cannon slot? Why Static lose the cannon slot? It's like, well, it's just not thematic. They don't have cannon slot. They don't have cannons. They can't take cannons. These ships. It's not canon to have cannons, as they'd say. But they have sensors, So being able to take fire control system, that's really good for Midnight, for example. Like Midnight really loves the ability to re-roll a die without having to spend the lock. How many times have you brought Midnight and like needed to spend your lock immediately? It feels bad. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
That was a good call. Thanks for highlighting First Order.
Appreciate that. Definitely hoping they do a little bit better. First Order's tough. They just don't have a lot of choices. The Upsilons are getting more play now, but they just don't have a ton of choices in terms of different chassis. And I think that's why you don't see a ton of people playing FO or enjoying it maybe in XWA.
I just hope that hopefully, with newer shows coming out, on Disney Plus and, with the newer movies and stuff like that, that we'll get to see more of the sequel trilogy fleshed out, get to see more ships on there. I'm pretty excited so far with Skeleton Crew to see some of the lore for some of the newer ships that they've been displaying on there, because that's just more things that we can pull from later on to hopefully bring into the game or in future games. Even in Star Wars Unlimited right now, they've been bringing out stuff that we've seen in some of the newer shows that have come out on there, right. And it's great to see that that stuff that we're seeing on the screen is translating into our Star Wars games and stuff. So it's pretty exciting to see what they'll bring in the future.
I was going to say, in Star Wars Unlimited, that it's cool to see like the ships that have come out on just the new TV shows are immediately making it into the game, which is like, it's super neat. Even neat. Just seeing the ships on like the ability cards.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the last thing I want to say before we move over to talking about SWU for a few minutes is that XWA thought that Resistance was in a pretty good spot. They didn't even make a single change to Resistance, which is really interesting. That's Resistance has always been a lot better than people think in terms of performance. So that's cool.
Sure. Very consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's segue over to Planning Phase Syndicate a little bit here. I've wanted to talk to you about PPS for quite a while, JJ, and I do appreciate you guys having me on a few times in the past. And you guys have been very passionate about Star Wars gaming, specifically X-Wing. You guys were just doing X-Wing, and now you've kind of done a little halvesies situation / mostly focusing on Star Wars Unlimited. So how did you guys start Planning Phase Syndicate? We'll start with that question, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Planet Phase Syndicate originally started with a group of guys out of Michigan, Chris Tanner, Matt, and a guy that lived in Florida. His name is Charles Dillman. They were original founders of Planet Phase Syndicate. Chris had some previous experience running podcasts and stuff for some of his local stuff there in Michigan, and she was introduced to X-Wing, and he really got into the game. And the three of them got together and said, "Hey, you know what? Let's form a podcast and let's do it." They went through about 6 months, and I played with Charles quite a bit at the time, and they brought me on to as a host, and I've been doing it ever since, going 2.5 years strong. We are comprised right now of just mainly myself, Chris Tanner, who's our lead host, and then our perennial guest host, Alex Merrill from the Best Warmers. We started off doing X-Wing coverage quite a bit, targeting our podcast more towards the newer players, trying to discuss breakdowns for like list archetypes and pilot breakdowns and such. And we did that for a while, and then we went through a period of time where there was a lull in content from AMG. We went through, what was it, like 2 years, I think, without any
God.
updates from AMG. And it as a podcaster, it becomes really difficult to.
It's called
kinda
getting ghosted.
sustain that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And it was tough. It was a very tough decision for us when we decided to bring our focus more towards Star Wars Unlimited. It was a game that myself and Chris really got into, and Alex got into as well. I got to try it out in PAX, and then I convinced Chris to like, hey, this game is really cool. You should definitely check this out. And I got to play it at PAX last year, and we were definitely blessed to be in contact with FFG, and they allowed us to spoil some of their new cards for the last set that came out, and
That's awesome.
we've been able to cover that ever since there. We're not totally done with X-Wing at all. As a matter of fact, I still play X-Wing more than anything else, board game wise, and Chris also plays. And oddly enough, he is like one of the top players this season for the Trash League, which I found hilarious because he was normally pegged as a CIS player for the longest time, and then he came into the league as a Falcon, and then just proceeded to like have like a 7-3 season, which is actually fantastic.
That's
He
incredible.
did way better than I did, which is awesome. But yeah, we still play X-Wing, and we do have regular updates for X-Wing when we get it there. We were definitely like super excited to interview Ali when the beta points came out, and of course the interview that we had with you, and yeah, we try to cover the major events as they come up there. We are definitely really excited to see what's going to happen post Worlds with the XWA, mainly because we want to see where it leads, right? You know, it kind of gives us the free reins to take the game into a better direction, right, as a community. And we're excited to see what the new tournaments will look out there. I mean, just listening to the various outlets that have been putting out news for XWA, you know, for prize support with your guest that you had last podcast from Lock and Roll. Just seeing that prize support that you guys are gathering up there to give out for different events that are running XWA events. That's something that's going to be great. And
Well, and
big
the
shout
store
out
kits.
to
Yeah.
those store kits. Yeah. The big shout out that I want to give to is also to Harry Nick, who recently opened up his Geeky Bit store that actually has a lot of components for X-Wing that you can purchase there,
Yeah.
including a custom dial that can work with any ship. That's something that will be needed in the future when it becomes more difficult to find some of the core sets or like a secondhand market.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's exciting.
I enjoyed talking to him for our podcast as well, interviewing Nick. I've always been a big fan of his. When I got an X-wing, I absolutely adored his channel, and it just felt very nurtured by his channel and the way he covered the game, and it was really great to be able to have a one-on-one with him and talk to him. And yeah, definitely check out his store and just kind of creating like an evergreen solution to initiatives and dials for pilots and stuff that's compatible with the game. Appreciate him stepping in to do that. And y'all should definitely support him and his channel and his store. Yeah, as JJ said, Geeky Bits. We can include a link in the description of the channel or of this episode with that as well.
Yeah. No, 2025 is I feel is going to be a great year for Star Wars gaming in general. If you're just a fan of Star Wars and want to get into a competitive gaming scene.
Yeah. JJ, what do you like about SWU specifically? Like what like at PAX last year like stood out to you? Is like, oh man, like I'm hooked.
So I previously played a lot of different card games. I tend to play a lot of like board games and card games on the regular, but what really grabbed my attention about SWU was the way that they divvied up the areas or the arenas where you compete, right? You have a ground-based side where you have your ground-based units, and then you have your space side where you have your space units and like capital ships and starships there, and you have to really focus on balancing the two sides, right? You don't want to neglect one side because your opponent can completely overwhelm you and destroy your base from that side. But at the same time, you have leader abilities, which are unique to each different leader that you can build your deck around with, that really give you a tactical advantage when you're trying to kind of outmaneuver your opponent there. There's so many different ways to build different lists, different decks and stuff, and they've done a really, really good job of really bringing out the lore. The biggest part of it is bringing out the same character, but from different points in time where they have different abilities, namely characters like Anakin Skywalker or even Luke Skywalker and such, or some of the clone troopers. Each clone trooper has their own feel for what they're doing, especially with the new pack that came out, the new set 3. It's just really fun and entertaining to use the same leader and make different decks that give them a different tactic to it, or just use different leaders in general and have different feels for it. So it makes the replayability of the game much higher than what I've experienced playing like Magic the Gathering, for instance, or even Lorcana. I was very, very big into Lorcana when it came out, but Star Wars Unlimited just won me over immediately. Yeah.
That's cool. I did. Andrew, have you tried Unlimited yet?
I played one game.
Me too.
Just the initial starter game, yeah.
I played with Peter, my boy Peter, who helped me get an X-wing. Actually, he's basically moved on to Unlimited, which is what a lot of X-wing players are doing. Like, there's a lot that are like you, JJ, that are still doing both, but a lot of them have left X-wing to play Star Wars Unlimited, and so I have a bitter relationship with SWU only because of that. I wish like they're so different. The games could not be more different that I'm like, hey, like play both. Like I ran into someone at the airport with Steven back when we landed from Philly, and he had a Resistance hat on, and Steven's like, hey, nice hat. And the guy's like, oh, hey. And he's like, did you guys just come from PAX? We're like, yeah. We started talking, and we were like, we're playing X-Wing. He's like, oh, I was playing Unlimited. And he's like, I used to play X-Wing, but I play Unlimited now. I'm like, and I said, like, you can play both. You can still play both. Like, you can.
JJ's proof of that, yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, like, you know, maybe I still have my stuff. And I was like, you know, it's like, hey, like, come back. Like, you know, it's a card game. It's so different. You know, you can play both. So, you know, I think it's the timing of Star Wars Unlimited. It honestly was needed for a lot of people because people who were not feeling X-Wing or other games, there's a bit of a lull. They have this new, exciting, and very well designed game with good mechanics, like I was impressed with the game. I got curb stomped, but like it was so thematic. I was like, man, FFG is so good at finding
Yeah.
ways to just echo thematicism through all of their games. They're really good at that.
The premise of it, of you have a leader and you are trying to find and destroy the other opponent's base. I mean, that's basically almost every Star Wars movie. And you get to play it out in the way that you have your strategy. Also, if you like the ships, like an X-wing, there are ships in the game, and the characters that you love. Like, yeah, it's a cool like Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about FFG too is that FFG has the experience on making Star Wars games and relying on that brand identity, right? You know, they did Destiny, they started X-wing, and they are very very familiar with the lore. And you can really tell in the way that they themed their cards and they themed the several sets that have come out so far, based around this singular theme, and flesh it out really, really well with the wealth of characters that are available in Star Wars. So I think the main reason why you see a lot of X-Wing players transition over to Star Wars Unlimited is because there's that familiarity with the theme and the lore for Star Wars. They don't share the same art, sadly, but it's easy for people to be familiar with the characters. You know, you have people that have their favorite Star Wars character, and they can play them with their other favorite cast and stuff in a theme deck. And as a person who really really enjoys list making in X-wing, creating different decks and different lists for your decks is right up my alley, because I can tell you that the majority of my time playing Star Wars Unlimited is making decks, making thematic decks with specific characters doing specific things, and just having a blast that way. It doesn't always have to be competitive, but it's always fun when you get that perfect run of cards that just completely makes your opponent just confused of what's going to happen next, and they're not prepared for it, and it just creates those moments there where you can have that aha moment, right? It's a lot of fun.
I was gonna say I play a lot of like Magic the Gathering as my card game, and especially Commander. So when I heard that they have like the Twin Suns format on Star Wars Limited, that's
Yeah.
kind of the one that I want to play the most. The singleton
Oh, yeah.
format with like 4 players, because one of my favorite parts about card games is like the social aspect of it and sitting down with like multiple players to play. It's one thing why I really loved Epic too in X-wing. So anything that gives me that kind of feel is something that I'm looking for in a game. So I haven't played that yet, and that's the one that I'd be like most excited.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a ton of fun. I highly suggest it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys should, if you want to support SWU and get that fix for Star Wars Unlimited content, definitely go over to JJ's channel, Planning Phase Syndicate, because you guys are doing. It's really cool that you got to spoil some stuff. FFG is giving you guys some love. I think you guys deserve it. Alex is telling me you guys are doing really well covering SWU, so that's awesome.
I was gonna say I love the like for new players, the deck building guides that you have, and like the how to get started guides. Like if you are interested in getting started Unlimited, definitely check out Planning Phase Syndicate, because it's one of the best primers to get you ready to play your first games.
Hell yeah! Last thing, guys, before we put a little bow, it's very themed in terms of the time of the year, a little bow on this. New Year's resolutions. We roll our eyes because a lot of the times it's hard to sustain a New Year's resolution. But give me, for both of you guys, give me one that's like a personal thing, like, this is something I want to do for myself, and then maybe one that's like geeky, nerdy, Star Wars gamey, X-Wing, whatever it is, a resolution as well. So JJ, I'll start with you. What you got?
Well, I gotta go with I absolutely am making it my personal goal to make it out to Adepticon this coming year. It is going to be the last AMG Worlds that we're going to have for X-Wing. I know it's going to be such a huge event, and I want to make it all the way up to day 2 just to make sure. But I'm bringing a couple of sweet decks with me just in case I don't. But I absolutely like, out of all the events going on next year, that is the one thing that I really am excited to go to, and I have to make it out this year for sure. I'm probably going to drive all the way from North Carolina to go up there to Milwaukee, just to have the freedom of having my own car and driving around Milwaukee out there. But that is definitely a personal goal of mine, to make it out there, and yeah, just have a blast out there.
Well, awesome. Yeah, I'd love to see you there. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Do you have one that has nothing to do with the gaming convention?
Yeah,
'Cause that is a good one.
The other one, the other one I want to do actually, is I tend to have a really big creative side. Like, I like to make content for a lot of different things, and one of the things I've been working on for, right, probably about like 3 years now, is Heroes of the Atari Cluster, or at least
Yeah.
related to that. So I've been working on an RPG campaign based on Heroes on the Atari Cluster that is meant to be run by like a GM, helping players to go through it. And I wanted to run it as a way to get people who may have not played the game to get into the game, because you want to be able to work as a team, to get familiar with the mechanics of the game and stuff, and make it very user friendly for first time players who may have never played the game before. And I want to make it very intricate. I want to have a lot of different scenarios and stuff, and borrow elements from other games like Armada, from Star Wars Unlimited and such, and integrate it into one game there. So that way, anybody can play it, everybody can have a lot of fun doing it, and that would definitely satisfy my own personal creative itch that I have to make content.
That's awesome. That's how I got started into X-Wing. Was I was planning on just doing Here's the Artillery Cluster first.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like those. Those are good resolutions, JJ. I back both of them. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, my news resolution, my non-nerdy one, is just to be better at remembering people's names when I first meet them.
That's a really good one.
I'm gonna,
That's a tough
I'm
one.
gonna, if I can up that percentage, you know, like I'm hoping for like 80%. I think that would be a good place to start. You know,
And
obviously
when in
100%
doubt,
would
just
be
say
great,
Chief. Point at him, say, "Hey, Chief."
but- Hey, hey, man, hey,
Soldier, Sarge.
what's up? Yeah.
Hey, Chief.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, where it's like, if you woke up with amnesia, you're not gonna just yell at people like, "Who are you?" Like John Mulaney has a joke like this too. You're gonna be like, "Oh, hey guys, like what's going on?"
That is really funny.
Yeah.
What's your nerdy one?
Yeah, my nerdy one is honestly just to be able to play more. I'd like to show up at as many tournaments as I did in 2022. Felt like 2023 was kind of a slower year for me, so I would just like to get more involved in the X-Wing scene.
2023 or 2024?
Well, I felt like I did a whole bunch of tournaments in 2023, yeah, and then
Okay, so this year.
this past year, yeah, this past
Okay.
year, like, I didn't do as, I guess, many as I'd like to, but that was more just because I had a lot of other stuff going on. But no, I think I'd like to, in 2025, get a lot more involved in the X-Wing scene. Maybe even, you know, at least try out as an alternate for some draft leagues, and dip my toe in there as well, because it seems like, yeah, everyone's having a lot of fun with those, and they seem great.
Still signups open for the team league, 312 team league.
All right, well, there you
Matt
go.
joined. Matt, our local Matt is playing in it. So, yeah. So 312. It was a good year for us. You know, we started our Patreon at the beginning of the year, and it opened the doors for us to do a lot. And not a lot, like, we got a lot of equipment already with that help. We've put ourselves in a position to be able to travel with that equipment in a safe and compact way. So 312 resolution, I guess 3 resolutions here. 312 wise is to be able to get on a plane with our gear and stream an event somewhere that I cannot drive to. Convention, big tournament, whatever. I'd love to do that. By January, the goal is to have everything capable and ready to be able to do that. That's the goal, and it looks like that's going to happen, which is super exciting. The other thing is just continuing to do more with 312 when it comes to online tournaments, because we've done a couple. We have the Blues Brothers Bonanza this weekend. We got 32 plus players for that.
It was very fun seeing the art for that one.
The logo. Yeah, I love that. Thanks, John. Copper Blue making that logo for us. Just being able to provide more content and more playing opportunities for players. So that'll be a challenge, but I hope to do that and look forward to that. For myself, I'd like to do a little bit more socially when it comes to like activities. Dating is not the only thing I want to be doing socially. I'm exhausted from it, and I love hanging out with the guys playing games, but we don't play games all the time. So I think maybe doing some sort of like, I don't know what it would be. Softball is definitely on my radar for the summer and fall. Maybe spring if the weather holds and is nice enough in the spring. It's always iffy in Chicago. Just want to be outside more and do more, a little bit more active. So that's a good one, I think. Being a little bit more social and just keeping myself out there is a goal. And then nerdy wise, I just want to win. I want to win an X-Wing tournament of some sort. So I'd like to say Worlds, but Duncan Howard exists. So I'm going to look elsewhere, but I want to play well at Worlds at least.
I mean, you never know.
So hang on, 2 questions. So does that mean that you're coming to the Richmond Open, and are you bringing your mom?
Oh, well, you know what? The fact is, my mom estranged from you, because the fact you have to ask me on her whereabouts suggests that your relationship with my mom is not looking very good. That's embarrassing, and also good for my mom and I, because we could finally get out of this terrible situationship you guys have been in. Oh my God, it's terrible. Richmond Open, dude. You played at Richmond. You made final table at Richmond Open, didn't you?
Yes, I did, against Duncan Howard.
How'd that go?
Last year. Yeah.
He's so good, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's silly.
We all knew how that went, but no, I mean, that's incredible. What a great run.
Yeah, that's awesome. I will go to LVO. When is Richmond Open?
It is May 1st.
After it's not going to be a GT, but there'll be X-Wing.
Yeah,
it should be a GT actually, because I think it's the last GT that we have here in North America.
Oh, they're doing, it's weird to do post Worlds GTs, but I guess because they don't connect to each other, it's I think that's possible. May, that gives you a lot of time. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, and if we're still doing the same venue that we did last year, literally right across the parking lot is King's Dominion, which is like a big theme park that has like a ton of rides and stuff. So hit that
awesome.
up right after the tournament. So
that's cool. That's really cool.
Great.
That's awesome.
All right, maybe I'll go to Richmond too.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Any final say, guys, as we wrap up the year here?
It's I'll go first. It's been a great year. Really, really excited to see what XWA has done so far. And if you're on the fence and still not sure, what to do about X-Wing and stuff like that, definitely check XWA out. Take a look at all the work that they've done and rebalancing the points and stuff. There's a lot of new stuff coming out for XWA. Big shout out to Paul Heber for the work that he's done for Epic Play. I know that we have an upcoming interview with him over at Planet Base Syndicate to discuss the Epic Play changes that's come out there. But definitely take a look at all the new stuff that's coming out. I know that you guys have big stuff coming out next year once Worlds is concluded. And yeah, we're going to keep the game alive as long as possible. So the shout out goes to all the current and future X-Wing players. Thank you so much for supporting the game. And we hope to still see you guys out at all the events, even if it's still AMG points. We still want to have a good time. We still want to play the game and have fun with everybody.
Well said, Andrew.
Yeah, for sure. No, I was gonna. I mean, I've never been more excited for the direction of X-Wing. It was great playing in the 312, the Chicago tournament. that we just had back in November, and it's honestly it's just been awesome.
Yeah, I'm. There's a lot to look forward to in 2025 for sure. And I hope to see all of you or a lot of you at Adepticon. And if not, I'm sure I'll catch you around online or at another event. We appreciate you all. All right. So thank you to JJ for joining us for our final podcast episode 23, to wrap up the year. Make sure you guys check out Planning Phase Syndicate on Twitch. You can find the link to their channel in our description of this episode. Now, for the holidays, the best gift you can give us is your continued support. So look out for bigger things from 312 this coming year. If you aren't already following us on Twitch, what are you doing, huh? Follow us on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, because you should, because Cassian said you had to. The links to those in the description as well. And lastly, but not leastly, if you think 312 has been extra good this year, consider joining our Patreon. We have some amazing benefits, including exclusive commissioned cards, tokens, stickers, and much more. Not to mention early access to content, Discord benefits, and awesome discounts on all of our events, whether you're playing in person or online. We hope you have a safe and happy holiday season. On behalf of all of us here at 312, we know you have many options when it comes to which squadron you choose to fly with, and we thank you for choosing us. We will see you in 2025. My name is Nick Sperry.
And I'm Andrew Kuba.
And I'm JJ.
And we will see you next year.
All right.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah, thank you all once again. JJ, thanks so much for coming on, and thank you for bearing with my technical difficulties.
No worries.
No worries. That was an anomaly. It was never happened before.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go check. I think we should be good. I might not actually need that, but I'm just gonna wait for it to just finish processing before I check.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
let me
sure
know.
you guys don't lose that.
Let me know if you need JJ or I's like audio from the last session or not.
Yeah, we'll do. I was gonna say it doesn't.
And then let me know where you want me to send the other file.
Yeah, I don't need your files. I have both of those.
Ooh, we
Nice.
Gucci.
Okay.
We Gucci.
Yeah, we're good.